Feeling depressed? Grab an Aeropress to make yourself fantastic coffee. I can't guarantee it's gonna help, but great coffee never hurt. Caleb here from Take Two Coffee. Real excited to share my favorite recipe for the Aeropress. This is, when I'm in the mood to try a new coffee or a funky coffee, this is typically where I go to. I think this allows bright coffees, fruity coffee, a little more acidic coffees to truly shine. So today we're gonna go over the inverted Aeropress. That's how I've typically always used it. I like this method the best. You're gonna need your Aeropress, you're gonna need your grinder, you're gonna need some filters for that puppy, you're gonna need your coffee, as well as something to brew it in and a scale. So let's get into it. All right, so the Aeropress is super basic. It's literally made up of 3 components, that's it. It's got a bottom basket that holds your coffee in, it's got your brew chamber, and it's got your plunger. That's it. I like to call it like hillbilly espresso. Even though it's not an espresso, it has a little bit of pressure in the extraction process. So like I said, I like to use the inverted method, which means that instead of the standard brew where you put your coffee in over your vessel and push down, we like to take this puppy, flip it upside down, and take your plunger, and you create somewhat of an immersion brewing process here that can happen before you actually plunge the coffee. In the other method, what happens is coffee naturally comes out and you lose some of that strength in the brew. So we're gonna start here, grab our coffee, throw it in our grinder. For a grind size on this, you're gonna wanna go with, similar to your drip brewer, of course, table salt, but just a little bit finer. I like to go a little finer on these, as I think it has a lot better chance of pulling out the complexities of the coffee. All right, so for this coffee, I like to start at a 15:1 ratio for my Aeropress. That's kind of the starting point. Adjust this to whatever your flavor, palate, whatever you desire. But once your coffee's ground, you're gonna pour it into your inverted Aeropress. For this, we're gonna do 18 grams of coffee, 275 grams of water total for our brew. So we get our coffee in there, we tear our scale so it's zeroed out, and we get ready to brew. So for this part, you're gonna need a timer. A lot of scales nowadays will have a handy dandy timer on them. I'll use that. You can use your phone, you can use whatever you want, but you do wanna keep track of your brew time on this. And again, the reason we keep track of all of these is simple. We want to be able to reproduce that same cup of coffee every time. So we're gonna start with a pour of 50 grams. When we start, we're gonna start our timer as well. Whoop. Sound effects are really important for this. We're gonna stir it, and this is gonna be considered our bloom time. This is what happens where the coffee is off-gassing quite a bit and allowing some of that gas out before we continue that brewing process. We're gonna let the coffee in there brew until 45 seconds, and we're gonna add some more water. All right, now we're gonna add 125 grams. If you get lost at any point, all of the brew is gonna be down below. So fret not, my friends, fret not. So we're at 175 grams total so far, and then at a minute 30, we're gonna put our last 100 grams of water into the inverted Aeropress. Like I said, this is creating an immersion brew in here rather than allowing the coffee to already fall through the basket. While you're waiting for that minute 30, go ahead, add your filter. Boom, put your filter there. Minute 30, we're gonna add our last 100 grams to bring us to 275 grams. Boom, there we are. I like to take that filter and wet it, get rid of any papery taste, and we're gonna stick this puppy on top. Now, at this point, your scale is irrelevant. You don't need it anymore, so you can move it off to the side. Friendly word to the wise, don't plunge your coffee on your scale. You'll break it. Definitely done that. All right, so you've got to 2 minutes and 30 seconds of total brew time. You're gonna flip this puppy onto your vessel. I've already preheated it. That way you don't lose a lot of that temperature. You're gonna flip it over, and you're just gonna gently push down. If you listen carefully, you can hear the sounds of pure happiness. Joy, dreams. Life's good. Life's good. All right, so you finished your brew. One thing left to do. Grab a cup, enjoy. Making a mess. Cheers.